Soludo was seen wearing a cap bearing Tinubu's Infinity logo, a mark of endorsement for the president who may seek another term in office. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, the Anambra governorship election is scheduled to be held on November 8. In the meantime, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Umar Sani, has raised concerns over Peter Obi's promise to do one term if elected as president and believes his supporters may not allow him to keep his word. Sani, speaking in the news chart this morning, argued that though Obi's integrity is not in question, the former Labour Party presidential candidate may pander to pressure from his supporters. He stated that there were so many obstacles to the promise and noted that the issue is not whether the former Anambra State governor will keep the promise, it's whether they will allow him to keep it. That comment has, however, continued to generate debate among stakeholders like Sani, who says Obi's proposal might be difficult to implement. Mr. Sani stated that the best bet for the PDP's former president, Goodluck Jonathan, who, according to him, is the better option in the interest of the northern region. He disclosed that the former president cannot do more than one term by the provisions of the law and the Constitution. Then the only thing remaining for him is to do that one term and leave. Moving on, the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection at the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, Mike Achimugu, has clarified the agency's role in two recent passenger incidents, saying the authority only intervenes where necessary and within its mandate. Speaking this morning, Achimugu said in the case involving Fuji musician Wasiu Ayinde, better known as K1 The Ultimate, the airline did not press charges. He disclosed that as a result, the NCAA petitioned relevant authorities to prosecute the passenger, issuing an advisory to the Airline Operators of Nigeria, AON, to have the passenger banned. However, in the Ibom Air case, where a passenger assaulted the airline staff member, he explained that the carrier immediately exercised his right to take up the matter in court. The passenger, identified as Emerson Comfort, was charged in court on the same day that the incident happened. She was also remanded. Achimugu stressed that both cases highlight that the aviation system is being tested and there is enough blame to go around the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, aviation security, cabin crew, and passengers. The NCAA director noted that unruly behavior is not acceptable anywhere in the world, no matter the confrontation, adding that the regulations are not sentiment-based.
There is no comparisons here, not necessary, absolutely. It's not a case of oranges and oranges. In the Kwam incident, the airline did not activate its right to take the passenger to court. So the CAA did what it's supposed to do by petitioning the relevant authorities to prosecute the passenger. In the Ibom Air incident, maybe because, their staff has been assaulted, the airline immediately activated its right to take up the matter, and then it went to court. So the CAA is not involved in the case of the Ibom Air passenger. Remember that in the Kwam case, the CAA issued an advisory to AON, the operators, to ban the passenger. Meanwhile, I need to correct this impression. I keep saying 6 months. We did update that information and say that the ban on Kwam was now indefinite pending outcome of the. This I have also said a lot of the time. But the way the law works is up to the justice system. The CAA has done its part and has done a criminal referral to the relevant authorities. So we wait for the outcome of
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Bar Association has condemned Ibom Air and the Airline Operators of Nigeria for their handling of the incident that involved Ms. Comfort Emerson on an Ibom Air flight on August 10. In a press release signed by its president, Mazi Afamosigwe, and General Secretary Dr. Mobolaji Ojibara, the NBA described the airline's actions, including a lifetime flight ban imposed on Ms. Emerson, as unlawful and a violation of her right to dignity. According to the NBA, Ms. Emerson was forcibly removed from the aircraft, publicly stripped of her clothing, and humiliated in an incident that was recorded and widely circulated online. The NBA called the treatment degrading and a breach of her privacy and dignity, falling short of expected standards in the aviation industry. The association called for the matter to be subjected to an independent, impartial investigation by the appropriate authorities before any disciplinary action is taken against her. The association further criticized the lifetime ban placed on her as a violation of fair hearing principles, arguing that Ms. Emerson was not allowed to respond to the allegations. In another development, President Bola Tinubu has appointed Chisom Obi to the Governing Council of Alex Ekweme Federal University, Ndufu-Alike, Ebonyi State. Obi's appointment follows the death of a member of the council. The president also appointed Professor Ralph Akifele, a renowned communication specialist, to the Governing Council of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State. This was disclosed in a press statement on Tuesday, signed by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga. Formerly a member of the Governing Council of Yakubu Gowon University of Abuja, Professor Akinfeleye replaces Mr. Wahab Owokoniran, who was appointed Pro-Chancellor and Chairman, Federal University of Transport, Daura, Katsina State. The statement also said that the President named Professor Ibrahim Adamu Yakasai as the Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University of Health Sciences and Technology, Safi, Zamfara State. The President appointed Mr. Hamisu Yusuf Yelwa as the university's registrar, Usman Nakazali Sanusi as the bursar, and Dr. Shehu Aminu Liman as a librarian. And still with education, the Lagos State University has called off its industrial action following the decision of its Joint Action Committee after meeting with the State Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat last Thursday. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the Deputy Registrar and Coordinator, Center for Information and Public Relations of the institution, Thomas Onoshile Oluwayemisi. The statement read that after due consideration of the update received from the university's Vice-Chancellor on the said meeting, the Senate resolved that all academic and social activities should resume across the university on Wednesday. The statement added that students are advised to return promptly and prepare adequately for the 2024-2025 second semester examination, previously suspended, which will now commence next Monday. The institution Senate, at its virtual meeting held on 2nd August, suspended all academic and social activities following the declaration of industrial action by the GAC of staff unions on 31st of July. Moving on, Vice President Kashim Shettima says the quality of the people will determine the country's future. He stated this as the 2025 National Industrial Manpower Summit hosted by the federal government in Abuja this afternoon. He stated that the summit was an opportunity to gather, take stock of the current challenges facing the people and plan for the road ahead. He said the nation is in an era that demands a constantly evolving workforce, and if the country fails to act now, the risk of widening the skills gap. The former Borno State governor added that the country's greatest asset is not its geography, nor its natural resources, but its people.
For a nation with a median age of about 17, Nigeria is an incredibly young country. This usefulness is a gift, but it is also a responsibility. We must make our young people not just a demographic statistic, but a central component of our policy-making process. This is why we have rolled out programs to address the deficits in our human capital, knowing that the quality of our people will determine the quality of our future. This gathering, therefore, is an avenue to compare notes, interrogate ideas, and reflect on the road ahead of us. Nigeria's greatest asset is neither its mineral wealth nor its geography. Our greatest asset is our people. This reality imposes a duty on us. While we fail to invest in these prized resources, the consequences will be dire. An improvement in human capital, along with infrastructure and sound policy, is the bridge between development and setback in every nation. We cannot afford to divest from our people because the world will not pause to wait for us. This summit speaks directly to the dilemma that has held this nation to ransom for far too long. It is an opportunity to confront the difference between our economic aspirations and our current realities, and to take stock of what we have done to unplug the Nigerian youth from the despondency of the past. Our mission is to align the education and training of our young people, and indeed the larger workforce, with the needs of industry. We must rebut the mismatch between what our institutions produce and what our economy requires. This cannot be realized unless we foster a robust collaboration between the public and private sectors to prepare young Nigerians for the demands of today's job market. These disruptive technologies of our time bring both opportunity and danger. The danger is to be caught unprepared by the web of change that has already transformed the world. We live in an era that demands a constantly evolving workforce, and if we fail to act now, we risk widening the skills gap and missing out on the transformative benefits of industrialization.
In the court, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has given the federal government a September deadline to conclude prosecution of former National Security Advisor, NSA, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki, over alleged unlawful possession of firearms and money laundering. Justice Peter Lifu fixed September 24, 25, and 26 for the federal government to call any remaining witnesses and tender all exhibits in support of the charges which have been pending for a decade. Dasuki, who was first arraigned in 2015, was facing a 7-count amended charge and was expected to open his defense once the prosecution closed its case. At the last hearing, a prosecution witness, Masoro Mohammed, told the court that following Dasuki's arrest, his residences in Abuja, Kaduna, and Sokoto were searched for arms and cash. The Federal Government Council then applied for an adjournment to enable him to bring before the court other items found in Dasuki's house during the 4 search warrants executed in the houses. Justice Lifu, while granted the adjournment request, directed the federal government to be ready to close its case against the defendant and for Dasuki to open his defense. And elsewhere, activists Omoyele Sowore today led a protest to the headquarters of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, in Abuja, demanding the immediate release of the discharge certificate of Ms. Ushie Rita Ogwuamaye, a corps member whose service year was allegedly extended unjustly. The protest follows allegations of political victimization and abuse of office by NYSC officials, sparking outrage among human rights advocates and legal practitioners. Addressing the crowd, Sowore insisted that Ms. Ogwuamaye had fulfilled her national service and deserved a discharge certificate without delay. He accused the NYSC of being used as a tool for political retribution and called for accountability within the institution. During the demonstration, lawyers from Inebe Effiang Chambers submitted a formal protest letter to the NYSC Director General detailing the alleged victimization of Ms. Ogwuamaye. The letter, dated August 11, accused the local government inspector, Veronica Abela, of deliberately refusing to process Ms. Ogwuamaye's biometric clearance in April 2025, allegedly in retaliation for her criticism of the Tinubu-led administration's policies. You're watching news at 7 on Western Spring Television, and still to come. ADC says EFCC sudden probe of Tambuwal, others politically motivated. We'll bring you more on these when we return. Please stay with us.
Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in a deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and the National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history.
For Zimbabweans, the pangolin is more than an animal, it is part of our culture. They are fiercely protected by our people, and if found, are handed to our chiefs for release. Wildlife is our heritage and can be our future. Remember, poaching steals from us all.
The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the Earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to